Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Len Gardner. I want to welcome you to the call this afternoon. We sent out an evite, and I think you probably saw that consumers are buzzing about a tool that they're using to accelerate the equity in their home. And so we're glad that you're here. I know, gosh, if I if I had a dollar for every time a realtor said, "Why would you want to pay off your home?" Well, I'm going to show you why and how we need to shift people from just being satisfied with for a 30-year mortgage, for instance, to being able to accelerate those things so they can go from just debt to building wealth, right? So right now, we don't have control over the market. We never have. And so outside of buying low and selling high, we really can't, guarantee, if you will, or presume that anybody's going to make money on the real estate. Just rely on that. And so here we are in a market that's just gone crazy, and you guys might be saying, oh my gosh, I've already been overwhelmed, I just want to take a deep breath. But right now, when we got consumers buzzing about something, we can't afford to take a deep breath. We have to at least be well versed in it. And I hope you'll take it a step beyond because, people rely on real estate agents, not as financial advisors, but we're, the number one go-to person in terms of the financial picture in the real estate world, right? And so that's usually the biggest investment consumers make, and we're going to be there to help them along in this through this journey, right? So welcome to Learn and Leverage. Again, my name is Len Gardner, and I'm so glad that you're joining us today. So we want to help you not just embrace this concept and this program, of going from debt to wealth, and not just kind of changing your thinking a little bit about, hey, why would we hang on to a mortgage longer than we have to? But we want to revolutionize your business in the process. And so I want you to just 30 minutes or less. We're going to share this with you. Open your mind and keep your focus. Yeah. Before we get going, I just want to say, I just want you to imagine. Okay, just imagine as the market shifts or it doesn't shift or it doesn't cooperate, with the seller's need. Just imagine if you could go from being the realtor that helped them find their dream home to being the realtor that helped them go from debt to wealth. I mean, it's a paradigm shift for your business, right? And so every day, myself and countless other people across the country are sharing the tool I'm going to share with you with consumers, and there's a buzz going on. So you have come to the right place, okay? But, I'll make no bones about it. Listen, you'll see what I'm talking about as we go through this 30 minutes, but we want you to join. We want all real estate industry experts to join, across America, bottom line, to gain a competitive edge in your business, of course, but we also want you to make a difference in the lives of these consumers, owning real estate, and they'd really like to go from debt to wealth. So we make a difference in America, we make a difference in their lives, and we want you to join up with us so that you can be one to make that difference too. From debt to wealth, we're going to talk about how to revolutionize your business a little bit about branding. We all know what branding is, right? I've seen everything from people branding with their dogs to a lady with the hat to I even saw one recently that was a plus size realtor. It's like, okay, whatever, we struggle to get branding going, right? And then we want to be top of mind. In other words, we want to be in the forefront of their mind after that closing happens. That's what we all struggle to keep going, right? And we always want more business. You might be saying right now, nope, I just want to take a deep breath. It's been crazy. But you know what? If you're going to stay in it for the long run, you always have to be looking for more business. You always have to position yourself to have a flow of business. So you don't go from one listing. One agent said to me one time, after we go to closing, we got to start all over again. No. It should never be that way. So you need more business, a flow, if you will, and certainly a profit center. Some of you might refer to that as another stream of income, but in the real estate world, the broker world particularly, we refer to it as another profit center. And wise people, wealthy people, successful people have more than one profit center. So going from debt to wealth, I'm a skeptic, okay? You might be too. And if somebody starts stepping on my toes, telling me, hey, what should I do with my real estate business? I want to know where they're coming from, and I want to know by what authority they're addressing me and my industry. So I just want to go over this very quickly with you. I'm one of you, first of all, 25 plus years in the industry. 18 years of that was as a real estate auctioneer. I worked with 40 major brokers across the country, thousands of agents. And by the way, I'm going to cram a lot of information in for you in 30 minutes, but I'm not talking fast. Okay? Don't confuse the two. I sold across the US. I went into Mexico, went into Canada, and I even went into China to teach them how to buy at auction in the US in 19 different dialects. That was amazing. I'm a best-selling author. I'm a developer of certification programs for realtors. The most exciting one I had in the past was a certified auction specialist designation, and I've got one I'm going to share with you today. I've closed over 5,000 transactions. That's unheard of. I'm a previous board member for NAR, and my sales, when you look at auction, people think I'm like a bottom fisher, but the bottom line is the record sales for me was the top for $20 million. And I did do a little bottom fishing when a bank told me we've got a 3-sided townhouse that needs to get off the books, and we got it off the books for $1. So listen, I don't tell you that to brag. Listen, I have my own accomplishments. I don't need to quote unquote impress you. I'm just trying to show you that I know what I'm talking about here. See, I was really, really super blessed because when I got into the real estate or to the industry and then transitioned into auction, you know what? I came into it as a marketer. So I already knew how to market. I knew how to brand. I knew how to spend, and the results can speak for themselves. But nothing on this list of accomplishments, okay, had anything to do with how great Len Gardner is, because I'm not great, okay? It had nothing to do with necessarily the uniqueness or the magnificence of the properties. It didn't come down to me just being a lucky gal. It didn't come down to just being in the right place at the right time. My accomplishments 100% throughout my entire career comes down to having the right tools at the right time. It came down to strategic branding. And if you're not strategically branding your business, you need to. And then once you get those together, you got to have the perfect spend. And so that's really what it came down to. I tell you that to tell you, I know what I'm talking about. I used the auction to my advantage as a branding tool for a very long time, but I have something now that even beats that. So just to show you a little bit here, we're going to be talking about that profit center, but I wanted to point this out. This is a annual report from Long & Foster. They were the largest independently owned real estate company in the Mid-Atlantic. This is the annual report about 2 years after we joined together. I was an independent and I joined up with a tool, right? And so we did, $12 billion in sales. We had 6,000 agents. By the time it all went soft, we had 20,000 agents and 263 offices. So I want to point out at the bottom right corner of your screen here, you'll see the auction department. Now the auction department was me and my ad people and my support staff. It wasn't truly a profit center, excuse me, an in-house corporate center. It was a feather in the owner's cap. Okay, so Wes Foster sits on the right of that in that photograph, and he loved the fact that he had it all going on. He liked to be a one-stop shop, and if you look at all their services, you can see that he did a good job with that. So when auction came along, he said, whoa, that's a great tool because we can have every viable method of selling real estate. And so, really, it was just a feather in his cap. It was a branding tool. I can't tell you how many times I was called in to talk to a top producer, and the fact that we had auction put them right over the edge. And so it is a great tool. If you look at the big picture of their volume, oh, come on, we were a speck of dust, but we were definitely, made them stand out, give them a feather in the cap. And that's what you should have, regardless of whether you're an independent agent or a big brokerage like they were, okay? So that's what we're talking about, is adding something to your core business, not getting away from your core business. Enough about me and enough about that. So now, if you're a skeptic like I am, you want to know, well, who's behind whatever it is you're going to share with me? So I just want to spend a second there. First of all, our company and the program that we're going to show you is not new. Just because you haven't heard about it, just because consumers are just starting to buzz about it, doesn't mean that it's new. In fact, our founders, went into business together. They were childhood friends, and they went into the mortgage business in 1996. So if you were in the industry, you could think back and say, whoa, it was crazy, right? So they became one of the fastest growing mortgage companies in Utah. But you know what? There was something behind the scenes, and these two guys, being best friends since childhood, they both experienced pain, and that pain was that their families lost their homes to foreclosure, and they never forgot it. It's traumatic. I was drawn to them because I went through the same thing, right? And so Skylar, the guy on the top there, actually remembers, repossession truck showing up to take the car away. I mean, it's painful. So they wanted to make a difference in the world, and they realized they weren't making a difference. They were kind of adding to the problem, because when they were in the mortgage business, they realized were coming back to their homes like a giant ATM machine. Give me more, give me more. The more the market grew, the more they wanted out. And so they said, we got to do something. So they set out to make a difference. And they looked at other countries. You see, not everybody's like America, where we stretch out, mortgages for 30 years. Now, sometimes some of them are 40 years. Not every country does that. Not every country wants that debt. So There are programs. I became familiar with one years ago in the auction business from Australia that was called a one account. Very primitive, kind of paper system, but it helped people address their debt. So they put the brilliant technological minds to work, stepped into the new millennium, and they developed a digital system, a kind of a financial GPS, if you will. In 2004, they launched the first version of that. Since they had studied other countries and kind of mirrored them, it only addressed mortgage debt. It only really was effective if you had a home equity line. So when things kind of blew up in the banking industry, they regrouped. They put $19 million back into the company to be able to address all debt and to be able to address it without a home equity line. You can see we were nominated by Wells Fargo for the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award for financial services. And if you see those other logos, they're household names. And so you might want to Google if you're not familiar with that award, because Ernst & Young, when they give you their quote stamp of approval, they have scrutinized everything. So the bottom line is we're not new. We're not just coming out with something, that it would be risky for you to embrace or anything like that. They're proven, and we're going to show you exactly what it is we have to offer. And of course, without trying, we don't advertise. We don't, you're not, that's why you haven't heard probably. We don't advertise. We don't put newspaper or NAR magazines. We don't do radio. We don't do any of that. We just talk to people in the real estate industry, and those people talk to the consumers, right? But we get a lot of recognition because of the great thing that we're doing to help people to go from debt to wealth. So these guys who founded a mortgage company, helping people get the debt for the biggest asset in their life, switch it around to teach them how to get rid of it quickly so they can build wealth. Now, there are 3 benefits to your clients, short and sweet, right? One is to save money. Who doesn't want to save money? But when we can show them how to accelerate the payoff or accelerate the equity, we're saving them a ton of money. Most of our clients, 10,000, thousands of dollars, and to hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're saving them money. And frankly, I think if we have a tool that we can introduce our client base to that will save them money, we're obliged to share it. Then we save time. Well, my goodness, again, why most people think they need a boatload of cash, or once we get rid of this house or payment, or 30 years from now, maybe we'll buy a beach home. No. We save them time. And so they can get their home paid off, many people, in as little as 5 to 7 years on a 30-year mortgage. It's crazy, right? And then we build wealth beyond home ownership. Again, it's a wonderful thing to own a home, and it's the most exciting move a lot of people ever make. But wealth doesn't just get built there. We shouldn't just rely on having a good market, or from buying low and selling high. We should be able to look at wealth beyond home ownership, and that's what we're talking about here. And so I want you to best explain it to you. Just sit back, put your seatbelt on, and this short video is going to show you what I'm trying to tell you in just a few short minutes. So enjoy.
Welcome to United Financial Freedom. Before we get started, I have a few very important questions for you. Do you know the day, month, and year when you'll be 100% debt-free? Do you have a specific financial strategy you're confident in? Or even a plan of action that you're going to follow over the next 25, 30 years to achieve debt-free status for you and your family? If the answer was no to any of these questions, then I want you to listen very carefully, because what you're about to discover in the next few minutes can help you achieve the life of your dreams, a life of comfort, stability, peace of mind, excitement, and motivation, a life where you know exactly where you're going and when you're going to accomplish debt-free status and financial independence. With what I'm about to share with you, that's exactly what you can have. That is precisely what the United Financial Freedom Money Max Financial GPS is designed to do. Here's what you can expect. It typically looks like 7 to 10 years to arrive at debt-free status compared to 30 years for the average American family. Think about that for a second. Financial freedom and debt-free living within 7 to 10 years in most cases. And that's not even the best part. All of this is able to be achieved without any significant impact or changes to your spending habits or your lifestyle. So I want you to pay close attention for the next 2 minutes, and I'll walk you through what your life could look like if you were using the Money Max account. But before we do that, let's take a look at John and Rebecca Jones and what their debt is costing them. We'll look through their eyes to provide you a glimpse of what your financial forecast might look like. What is John and Rebecca's debt costing them? Well, they have $5,000 of monthly income, $1,936 in total monthly debt payments. That's almost 40% of what they have coming in, going out in the form of debt payments. $2,200 in additional living expenses, leaving an average of roughly $860 available as discretionary income in their budget. So let's take it a little further. We talked about nearly 40% of their monthly income going towards monthly debt payments, but more specifically, take a look at what it says here in the middle of the page. In fact, this month alone, for John and Rebecca Jones, $835.83 is going to interest, gone forever. Imagine what you could do by putting that money to work for you instead of it working for the bank. Okay, are you with me so far? Great. Now let's take a deeper dive into the current situation for John and Rebecca. John and Rebecca have a total of $230,000 of principal debt outstanding. There's a 30-year mortgage at $200,000, 3.99%, $25,000 in a car loan, and $5,000 in revolving credit card debt. But I promise you, they'll be paying a lot more than this if they stick with the minimum payment plan that most of us are on in the United States of America. What do I mean? Well, if John and Rebecca were to follow the minimum payment plan the bank provides and suggests, they would pay an additional $152,000 of interest on top of the $230,000 that they owe. That's 66% more than what they owe in interest alone. And what is more, that is 2.5 years worth of their entire income gone to interest alone. Total payback on that $230,000 for them, follow the bank's plan, is $382,355 in total repayment. So here's where the magic begins to happen. And I promise you, it's much more than magic. It's mathematics, efficient mathematics. Take a look. John and Rebecca's path is completely shifting here. With the Money Max account, John and Rebecca could save up to $102,561 of that $152,000 that would have otherwise gone to the bank over the next 30 years. Yes, you heard me correctly. $102,561 of the $152,000 will stay in John and Rebecca's pockets. That's the same amount of savings as a 1.35% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage refinance. If they took the car, the credit cards, the mortgage, and refinanced it all at 1.35%, that's what they would need to find in the marketplace to achieve the same results we are talking about here. $102,000 in interest savings. Again, that's 67% of the interest that would have otherwise gone to the bank over the next 30 years is now John and Rebecca's to create wealth and financial independence for their family. That means instead of $382,000 in total payback, it has now been reduced to $279,000 on that $230,000 of total debt. Now that's a completely different path for this family. But that's not all. It's not just interest that we save, it's time. Are you ready to see the new debt-free date for John and Rebecca? 9.8 years, 100% debt-free. Mortgage paid, credit card payments paid, car loan paid, all in 9.8 years instead of their planned 30 years. They'll now be 100% debt-free in January 2031. That is 20 years of debt payments that they'll no longer have to pay to the bank. We've saved $102,000 up front. We've helped them achieve debt-free status in 9.8 years, and we've freed up over 20 years worth of payments. How does that sound for financial GPS? I hope it sounds life-changing because it truly is. Before I show you how you can apply this same math to your personal finances, take one more look at John and Rebecca Jones' newfound wealth. This is the same report you could use to start redirecting your wealth and creating the financial freedom to live life on your terms. So remember that $1,900 a month in John and Rebecca's case that would have continued to go to the bank each month? After 9.8 years, when they're debt-free, we're going to help them redirect that money to their savings account, assuming a 1% interest rate in this illustration. For the remaining 20 years of debt payments we've saved them, they're now paying themselves rather than the bank. Take a look at this next screen. This is absolutely amazing. They could now save $644,000. Yes, $644,000 in the bank in the same time frame that they otherwise would have just achieved debt-free status following the bank's plan. And that's the power of United Financial Freedom's Money Max account financial GPS. Imagine the possibilities. Just like John and Rebecca, you can see results like this in your family. So let me ask you a few more questions. Are you curious to see how this program could work for you? Would you love to find out what your financial forecast might look like? If I told you this is completely complimentary, completely non-invasive, would you want to book a time with one of our debt to wealth consultants that walk you through this process, capture the basic data needed, and start to reveal your new accelerated path to financial freedom? No credit checks, no special criteria to qualify, just a Money Max financial checkup to see if this system's a good fit for you and your family. I can assure you, on your own, you could spend days, weeks, months even trying to answer all of your questions about what our system does and what it is and how it all really works. Let me save you some time and energy. I promise you, the most efficient, timely way for you to answer all of your questions in regards to this system and how it might work for you, and ultimately determine and discover whether it's a good fit for you and your family, is to simply book a complimentary appointment with one of our Debt to Wealth consultants today and have all of your questions answered, providing you the information and tools you need to make a sound, educated decision. This is your chance to take your financial freedom into your own hands. Do that, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Thank you for listening, and have a terrific day.
Now, if you're like most people, most real estate pros that watch this video, then it came to your mind, wonder what it could do for me. Well, you know what? You need to take a look at that. See if you can't get a savings report of your own. Because, there's not a wealthy person on the planet outside of inheriting money, winning the lottery, or something strange like that. There's not anybody that's building wealth by hanging on to debt. So to build wealth, the first thing we have to do is look at the debt. And why not use a financial GPS to get us there, right? So I'm going to, just point out a couple of things here. Listen, everybody knows about strategic payoff. If you're in the industry, you've probably told clients, hey, if you make one extra payment a year, you know the drill, how we can, tighten it up and shorten it. We're not coming anywhere near to 5 to 7 years, 7 to 10 years, whatever. It's a fraction of the time this way. And how many people actually do it, right? So we know about strategic payoff. We also know about interest accumulation, which is basically like in the wealth building side we just showed you. You put money in a bank, you get an interest rate, you build money, right? We know about those kinds of things. But the bottom line is the banking systems that we don't know about are either working in our favor or they're working against us. And most people don't know about how to offset accounts like a home equity line or a line of credit if they have one. They don't know the difference between open-ended loans and closed-ended loans. They have no earthly idea. They have no idea what interest cancellation is. You just saw a good example of it, right? How to knock that interest rate, how to not pay as much interest as you can not pay. And it doesn't matter how low that interest rate is. You still shouldn't be paying it if you don't have to, right? We don't know about floating and leveraging. We certainly don't know about the sequence if we're going to get out of debt. We don't know the right sequence. We look at the highest interest rate and think that's it. But that's not necessarily it. So this GPS is going to navigate you to the quickest way to your destination, and it's going to calculate the sequence, and it's going to calculate the timing. Who in their right mind would go these days, right, from the East Coast to the West Coast using a paper map? I don't care how good it is, how detailed it is, how good you are at reading one. You are not going to arrive in the same way efficiently, avoiding roadblocks and everything else as you will if you use a GPS. So why in the world wouldn't everybody want a financial GPS to help them navigate their way, to freedom? So we don't need a degree in finance to do this. We don't need to become a mortgage broker. We don't need any of that stuff. What we need is a financial GPS to navigate our way there. So to show you a real world thing, this is just a snapshot of a savings report that I did for a dear friend of mine. I won't mention her name because you might know who she is, but she spent over 30 years in the real estate industry. She was a top broker. She had market share. I mean, she just dominated the market in 2 separate markets, the Northern Virginia market and the Central Florida market. Just a dynamo broker, had a wonderful run, decided that she and her husband were going to move to the Panhandle in Florida and retire. And so they go there, they buy a house for just under 200,000 at the time. And before she knew it, she's looking at this debt. She's now 72 years old. She's like, oh my gosh, after all the success, after understanding real estate, after every opportunity I have, I'm going to probably die and leave my kids with all this mess to worry with. And so she was not looking, but she was just, depressed, to be honest with you. So when I embraced the program, took it to my friend, we were able to do her savings report. I'm not going to stay on it too long, but, you see that they had a total of 208,000 if you calculated everything in. So she went from like 27 years or something like that to 4 years of being debt free. January 2024, I believe that's going to be her 75th birthday. I'm not sure, but she's not just celebrating. She is so relieved that she has a handle on this mess that she's never taken care of. And you know what? Less than 20% of all real estate professionals, you might be on that list, have a retirement plan at all. And so she's excited. And you know what? She's not just looking at getting rid of the debt. She's also looking at building wealth at this stage of the game. Why? Because she knows if she applies this financial GPS, of course, this is in her market. The right side of the screen shows you a home at $225,000, a rental roll of about $1,400 a month. She knows that she could hypothetically pay off 15 homes, including her home, right, in the same amount of time she was on board for the last one. So she's excited. She went from feeling hopeless and feeling like I'm going to leave this mess to going into I'm going to be debt free, and now she's building wealth. That's exactly what we're hoping to inspire in you. Now, why do we want to be bothered? Your market's been great. Everything's been good. Well, if you look at the screen, this is just a snapshots from a magazine, an article that Forbes put out. And you see that 64% of millennials, 45% of Generation X, and 33% of baby boomers, this is for 2020, by the way, already regret their decision. The reasons they don't like their investment is they overpaid for the property. They see it, they escalated, got excited, got into it. They don't like the high maintenance costs. A lot of people, unless you've owned a home, they don't have a clue about maintenance. They're used to calling the landlord, right? They realize that, they really didn't do well with the location. They kind of bought into the market instead of buying into their location, or it's the wrong house size, too big, too little, whatever. So here we are with all these people that are disgruntled already. What are they going to do when the market shifts, right? They're either going to write a big fat check to go to a different property and make a better decision, or they're going to have to write it out like they did 2 bad markets ago. So we need to have something for these people, right? Good market, bad market, average market. We still need to help them escalate accelerate the equity in their home. So what will happen with your clients, if you embrace this along with us, and that each client will get a personal success coach that they'll deal with. Okay, that person will show them how to navigate through their savings report, how to set up their GPS, kind of like you would in your car. Put the address in, the destination, right? They're going to help them with the debt elimination side of it, and they'll also be helping them with the wealth accumulation if they want to look for anything outside of real estate, of course, right? So in other words, your people will be in really good hands, expert hands, corporately vetted people that will help them. And so far, we feel good about what we're doing. Our company motto is buying back America one family at a time. You see, we're living in a way with debt that it wasn't always that way. And so we're really proud. This is a little dated now, September 29th, we had $2,256 million paid off in debt. We feel good about that. And we want you to join us and feeling good too. So we want you to get on board. We want you to gain that competitive edge. It's not just about helping your clients, it's also about helping you. And so let me break it down for you. The branding side, that's priceless, okay? I have a proven play, I know. Once you can get that brand right and you know how to market that brand, you don't have to look for business. I know that this is hard to believe. You saw that I went through over 5,000 closings, right? I don't know how many people I shared auction with, but I know I closed over 5,000. I got to tell you, I never looked for business. Outside of sharing how the auction works, kind of did this only on conference calls, right? Outside of going into a brokerage, maybe Keller Williams or Remax or whoever, and addressing a sales meeting to tell them how it works, outside of a presentation maybe to the at the NAR convention, I didn't look for work. And so that's where you need to be too. And you get a good brand and you know how to spin it, that's what it looks like for you. So you need a good brand. And you know, consumers will want a realtor that doesn't just show them how to get their dream home, but shows them the way that they can pay off the mortgage in a fraction of the time. When they pay off the mortgage, what are they going to want to do? Most of them are going to want to build their wealth, buy another property, whatever, right? Then you want to be top of mind. Hey, I'm sorry, I'm not don't mean to be insulting. Anyway, fruit baskets, Christmas cards, back to school kits, whatever it is you do, you know, that doesn't have stick factor. It's a very nice thing to do. It makes them like you a little bit more. But you and I both know that clients aren't usually that loyal. So when it hits their mind to sell or whatever, if their neighbor got a license, their daughter got a license, or whoever, they're not necessarily thinking of you. But you need to stay top of mind. So can you imagine, as they log into their financial GPS each month or each week, however they decide to work it, and they're updating their numbers, in other words, if their, you know, electricity bill or whatever, they're updating that. Who do you think they're going to think of when they see that payoff date? Who do you think? My friend will attest to this. She said, I think about you all the time, but when I log in and I see that I'm down to, now she's down to 2.8 years, by the way. When I'm down to 2.8 years and I'm saving $150,000, I think of you a lot more. How do you think they're going to think of you when they're logging in to something you introduced them to navigate their way to wealth? You better believe that's top of mind like nothing else. And then you're going to have increased transactions, you know. Clients, you know, once they learn the secrets of wealth building, they see how it's possible to build a real estate portfolio just like my friend. Well, who are they going to want to talk to? So you just kind of guide them through the process, top of mind with that brand, and you're going to see more business, just like I did when I was using auction before this, right? I didn't look for it, just kind of had increased transactions. And then last but not least, you need to build your own wealth too. So outside of a retirement plan, you need another profit center. If you don't have one, you need one. That's the way, you know, the most successful real estate businesses in the US, bar none, have more than one profit center in their business. It keeps things flowing. One feeds the other. So if they're real estate related, you know, you might have somebody that it doesn't have a mortgage yet, and they start using a financial GPS so they can buy a home. Well, obviously that's going to feed your real estate business, right? And vice versa. So you need something, a stream of income, a profit center, because that's what the successful people do. And the wealthiest people in America, they don't ever put their eggs in one basket. They have more than one profit center. So why not earn referrals through that profit center, right? Why not set something up that helps your clients and also, you know, gives you that leverage, if you will, beyond the closing table? So why not get paid for it? The potential for more and more real estate referrals using this program, trust me when I tell you, it's immeasurable. You can't put a number to it because it's a paradigm shift in how they see realtors. You know, Inman News, if you're in the industry, you're familiar with Inman News. They did a poll several years back now that said, you know, they polled consumers and whether or not they trust their real estate agent. And only 11% said they do. The other ones kind of saw us as a necessary evil. If you saw the way NAR has to lobby and work with PR, trying to keep the image up, you know that. So it's kind of, with using this program, we're able to shift that just a little bit, and you know, so they can see that we care more about them than just the closing table. So how do you get involved with it? I keep saying I want you to join us, right? How do you do that? With a couple ways. You know, one is you share with your clients your past, your present, your future. You share with any listing that closed, whether it's yours or not. You share with everybody, even your family, right? Referrals begin at 500 and they go up to 1,500. We don't have enough time today for me to break it down for you, but it depends on, you know, how much debt they have. It depends on if they own homes, if they have one mortgage, if they have 25 mortgages, it all kind of depends. But that's your referral. You talk about a great profit center with very passive income. It's amazing. And we'd let the corporately vetted people be their coaches and see them through. Or if you think like Wes Foster with Long and Foster, you set up a wealth building division of your own. And so you can use that as your company label, if you will. And you could train your entire real estate team to promote this, to share this, whatever. And so it depends on you. If you want to not do heavy lifting or a referral, or do heavy lifting and build a division, it's easier than you can imagine. So look at this, this is basically what we recommend you say to your clients. I can show you a way to pay off your mortgage and all your debt in a fraction of the time without refinancing, without a change to your lifestyle. I'd like to set up an appointment with one of our accelerated equity partners to share more information with you. Let me ask you, how difficult is that, right? I really like to reach them just shortly after closing. Why? They already have all those numbers together. They've already, applied for the mortgage and went through that pain and agony. So being able to share the numbers so that we can get a savings report, that's pretty simple. But that's how simple it is. And I think if I could open up the lines, I'm pretty sure that you would agree that that's a pretty simple way to introduce an innovative, revolutionary tool that can actually blow your business up if you wanted to. So if you become, either way, you decide to get referrals, or you decide to build a division, you would become an authorized agent. Now this is crazy because in real estate, nothing's just $149, right? This $149 gives you access. Now I want you to know, I don't make anything off that. I'm not selling you today trying to get $149. Nobody on this call makes anything off of this. It's kind of like getting access to the MLS, if you will, right? Because it gives you the tools you need to succeed. Things like marketing videos and websites and, all that stuff. Your training, if you want it, tracking systems. That $149 is for your first year. There's no monthly anything. There's no, whatever. It's very clean and simple. And then the second year thereafter, it's $50 a year. Should you stay with it? Should you be using it? That's pretty simple. So $149 in real estate, we laugh at that, right? That's so crazy that that's all it would cost to gain access, but that's it for you. And I hope you don't delay, because you know what? Consumers are buzzing, and they're, in my opinion, maybe you don't feel the same, but I don't feel there could be anything worse than for my clients to tell me about something I should already known about. So I hope you'll look at it that way. Then I want you to know, I told you in the beginning, I developed designation programs. I'm working on one now that will be available very, very soon. And that's one that would enable you to call yourself an accelerated equity partner. And so it'll be formal designation, you'll get all the logo and everything you want, but more than that, you will get press releases that are show, put your name in lights, basically, when you embrace your program, when you offer it to your clients, when your brokerage starts a division, whatever that is, right? You'll have a whole stream of press releases to put out there. You'll have social media content. You'll have email campaign templates. You'd have everything you need outside of what you just joined up for. But anyway, this is coming soon, and I want you to know that you'll want to get on a list, because my way of saying thank you in some of these calls is to say, you'll get a complimentary membership to that. So be sure you get on a list for that so that you can take advantage of that. So it's question and answer time. If we have any new real estate agents or real estate experts, if you will, out there, you'd like to ask any questions, this is the time to do it. I'm more than happy. I want to be sure we cover everything that you want covered while we're here. Anything at all. If not, you guys know how to get in touch with us. We sent you an invitation with the contact information on it. And so, get in touch with us. We don't want you to have we don't want any stone left unturned, because trust me when I tell you, consumers are buzzing. And just like in the auction days, consumers would tell their agents, I want to do an auction. Now they're saying what they want to do. And I want you to roll up your sleeves and get involved with us to make a difference. God bless you, and God bless America. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.